So my name is Adriana Vila Soto. I work for the Miami Dolphins and Hard Rock Stadium. I am part of the corporate partnerships team. So we work with different partners, whether it be local or regional or national partners, to create compelling 360 marketing programs, leveraging the suite of assets of the Miami Dolphins and Hard Rock Stadium. Sorry, do you hear kids screaming in the background?
That's perfect. I love it.
All right. So some people don't know this, but at Hard Rock Stadium, in addition to the Miami Dolphins, we also host the Miami Open International Tennis Tournament. We have various international soccer friendly matches. We also have concerts and other cool events throughout the year as well. So we help brands leverage all those opportunities, not even only from an experiential or branding standpoint, but also digital content creation and experiences. If I were in quarantine for the next 40 days, the one thing from a business perspective I'd make sure I would do is understand my customers as well, if not better than they do, to really add value to their marketing plans and their brand planning and come up with a solutions oriented approach that can help them recover when all this is over. I think in these times that we're in, I am in a business development role. And it's an interesting time to be in business development because uh, people are so focused on things that have nothing to do with being sold or solicited. They're worried about their families. They're worried about their jobs in some cases. They're worried about, how we're going to come out on the other end of this. So really, the next couple days for me, whether it's 40 or whether it's another 10, are about really understanding my potential customers' needs, understanding their business, understanding what moves the needle for them, what delivers return on investment, what their brand stands for, and really just try to make a list of the top brand fits for us. And there are a ton of brands that could benefit from a sports partnership, and particularly one with our team, with our set of brand attributes. So wherever there's a good fit, I'm trying to identify who those brands are and understand their customer, my customer's customers, maybe even better than they understand them. See where I can add value to the equation, where we can identify needs and opportunities that we can satisfy through the assets that we have as the Dolphins organization, not just people attending a live game and maybe seeing the brand's signage there or some experience on the video fan board, but is it digital content? Is it money can't buy type of experiences? What is the value that we can bring to the table for a brand, so that in Q3, Q4, when hopefully this thing is over, we can create a win-win-win situation.
So
Yeah.
you mentioned understanding the needs of your customers,
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
in that way, you, as let's say the brand Miami Dolphins, can
Right.
help satisfy some of those needs in collaboration or in cooperation with the actual your client, let's say
Exactly.
the other brand,
Exactly.
like right. So it's like finding those needs um, to satisfy them together as Miami
Exactly.
Dolphins with the partner to do that.
Exactly.
So it's like finding the best value equation for at the end for the final customer, right? For the people. What advice or how could this idea of what you want to do, how could this idea be relevant for the travel and tourism industry today?
So this is my opinion and just my opinion, but I think what's happening now with the tourist and travel industry, I think there's going to be two main two main challenges when hopefully COVID-19 situation clears up. There's going to be the problem that, one, people may be afraid to travel. So they may be afraid to get on a plane, afraid to get on a cruise ship, afraid to go on vacation somewhere. There may be this sense of wanting to stay kind of close and not necessarily in the house, because I think people are going to be dying to get out of the house, after the quarantine, but
You believe
there
it,
might
yeah.
be a little bit of hesitation, for the people that can still afford to travel. I think the second challenge is, even though the government has passed stimulus now, the travel and tourism industry has taken a hit. People may honestly just have less money to spend, and maybe just less vacation time to take, because they've been out of work for a couple of weeks, possibly months, and they're going to have to make that up in Q3, Q4, when things settle down, and hopefully they can get back to work. Travel and tourism industry needs to understand those two fears, those two challenges, and possibly create solutions that are going to, one, make people feel good about traveling, that they're going to be safe. On the other side is the affordability. There's going to be a balance there between, now that some of these brands have lost revenue, they need to make up revenue, but at the same time, they're going to need to make it attractive for people. So it's going to be a challenge, that blend of, the 4 P's of marketing: the price, product, place, promotion. The pricing and promotional elements are going to be important too, to getting people kind of back out there and wanting to travel and take that time, and maybe consider what people's timelines are going to be. Again, even for myself, I've been fortunate enough to be able to work from home this time, but I'm really going to have to, when I'm back in the office, I'm going to have to hit the ground running, probably work even harder than I was working before, to make up the extra time, because we just haven't been able to do the meetings and the full outreach that we would have normally done had we not been under the circumstance. And let's say we get back to the office in June or July, the season is right around the corner in August, September. So really everyone's going to have to hit the ground running, and you may not have time for those little vacations or those long vacations that you would have had. So we need to adjust, maybe weekend getaways and things like that people can take advantage of. The number one tip I can give anyone, and it's not going to be easy, is be flexible, and maybe together with that, be creative. How can you make up the time? Yes, it's, if you had an event or festival that was supposed to be a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but now instead of 10 events to accommodate in, let's say, the month of October, now you need to accommodate 20. Be flexible, be creative. Offer incentives for people to book events during the week as opposed to on the weekend. Give them incentives, give them certain amount of credit towards F&B if they move their event to a weekday, or give them a credit on parking, or offer things that are valuable to them but don't necessarily cost you money, right? So if you were able to charge for audiovisual equipment before, maybe you only charge the service related to audiovisual and you comp the actual equipment itself. That way people feel like they can at least from a financial perspective, move forward with the events and meetings and conferences that they were going to do before. Give people helpful tip, be helpful, give them more space so that they can implement social distancing and not have people, packed like sardines inside a venue. So again, I think flexibility and creativity are going to be key.
Well, what's your relationship to data in regard of understanding those needs? Like you're talking about people will need flexibility. I mean, of course they will need flexibility,
Right.
but they will need social distancing. You said, hey, they're going to be out of time, so they will need other ideas on how they can schedule their trips or their events. Or I mean, almost every conference got canceled or postponed. So we're going to have much more conferences at the end of the year, but people are going to have the same time they always had. So how do you get to those insights? How do you get to those pain points maybe that people are having and that you can help solve from your brand and your partners?
I can tell you a little bit about what we do at the Dolphins and Hard Rock Stadium. So we have insights on our members, their ticket purchasing habits, their potentially, depending on, we have some information on, what kinds of products are consumed at the stadium by event. Let's say Dolphins games have a different profile than the Miami Open tennis tournament. But I don't know how that might help this conversation. What I would say in terms of data, in terms of getting creative, in terms of getting flexibility, all those things, right? So if you are a venue or a restaurant or a hotel or a destination, you do have some data from previous years, right? So this is probably, I would venture to say, definitely the worst thing that's ever happened. But there are potentially other things that have happened in the world that you could go back and see what the trends were at those points in time, right? So if you're in South Florida is an easier one because South Florida, we have hurricanes. So while this is definitely worse than a hurricane in many regards, in most regards, you do have hurricanes that have, that come and things get canceled or postponed because the hurricane's going to come, and then they don't want to necessarily reschedule things because you're still in hurricane season, right? So you have some data as to the trends and what happened.
You said this is the first time we have coronavirus, but we have had crisis in the past, right? And that left a mark that you have in your data somewhere. So you could use that to create kind of simulations of how the recovery happened then and what people appreciated more. So you could try to learn from that, at least. Yes, we all know it's not the same, but at least that will give you like a light.
And you know what I would say also? I am not particularly great at economics and the stock market and all of that, but I know people who are. So I would say lean on experts, lean on people who know about these things, read as much as you can. There isn't necessarily consensus about what's going to happen after this, how long it's going to last, how we'll rebound from it, right? So you really need to, if you can, take the time to arm yourself with as much information and understand scenarios, right? Scenario A, this lasts until a certain time period. Scenario B, this lasts until this, scenario A, we get back to normal this date. Scenario B, we get back to normal on this date.
So you mentioned like ask experts, and this is just my personal opinion, but I feel like this has made people more willing to collaborate.
Right.
Like
absolutely.
This has created like a sense of, hey, we need to do this together. We need to help each other. So this is also maybe a good opportunity for collaboration in general. Maybe you are a restaurant in a specific destination. Maybe you can work together with all the rest of the restaurants and the hotels and everybody and get together and put your data together for the first time and not be jealous about sharing, because right now, if a visitor comes, it will benefit everybody, right? So I think that might be another, hopefully something that we will see more, and maybe a good idea from a DMO perspective, to push for that. Like, hey, this is no time for egoism.
Absolutely. And you know what? Lean on those visitors and conventions bureaus as well. Lean on those chambers of commerce, those visitors and conventions bureau. Like, can you get creative? Everyone has to do their part, and even local media outlets that maybe normally would have charged for that airtime. Can you help the community out? Can you help out the local restaurants? Can you do some PSAs? Can, again, bring that collaboration really to the forefront and collaborate with partners that you didn't know, that you didn't think about collaborating with before. I think, to your point, people are more flexible, and people are willing to lend a hand in these times, because we're all stronger and better together, and to come out of this with as little effect as possible, we all need to band together and do our part. Just everyone, stay safe, be patient. This too will pass. Everybody's doing their part. I have friends and family that are working emergency rooms and ICU units in the country. I'm not quite that big of a hero, but everyone can be a hero in their small way by staying home and being safe.